Hey folks, it's time to have a little talk. You're doing YouTube wrong. If you work in B2B SaaS cybersecurity, you're doing everything you can to reach your ICP. One channel everyone seems to be ignoring in this sector for some reason is YouTube. Now, a lot of you exist there, but there's a big difference between existing and ranking on YouTube. Now, what is the definition of ranking on YouTube? YouTube clearly defines it as 1,000 followers and 4,000 watch hours within 1 year. That's the point where YouTube will offer you a monetization option. Now you can opt out of that because it's B2B SaaS. That's not really what you're interested in. You're not trying to make $3.50 a month. You're trying to reach your ICP. I personally have yet to see a cybersecurity company doing this right. It requires regular publication, probably at least once a week. Now it doesn't matter if it's at 5:15 p.m. on the dot every week on a Tuesday, but it does matter that you're publishing regularly with a regular cadence. One important reason for moving to YouTube and prioritizing it as a channel for your content is other channels are breaking down. We're all feeling the pain on social media, especially LinkedIn. Great algorithm changes, and you're a slave to the algorithm. And unfortunately, when that happens and reach drops, there's not a lot you can do about it. This is one channel still where you can build it and they will come, so to speak. When you get YouTube right and you create content that really resonates with people and they keep coming back to and they watch your videos all the way through and all of that good stuff, YouTube will push your content to even more people like them. Basically, they'll bring your audience to you. And I can't think of many other places online where that actually happens. So for organic reach, it's just a fantastic tool. We all know that Google search and the other search engines are basically bringing us a lot less traffic now. Everyone's seen a drop in traffic and everyone's focusing on AI search. You have little control over what's happening in the conversations with the chatbots, but you can believe that your ICP is there. They're asking questions adjacent to your product and possibly very specifically about your product niche, comparing solutions and trying to find out the truth that they haven't been able to find on their own. So that's a whole nother topic, and we can get into that another day. But while we're trying to figure that out and make that happen, understanding that's going to take some time, why not embrace a channel that's already there, has long existed, and other businesses are making great use of? Now, our goal, again, isn't to go viral on YouTube. It's to find that audience, that super relevant audience that is interested in what we have to say, what we can teach, and interested in the value we can bring to them. We want to build a fan base, not just a list. We're not looking for just leads. We're looking for true fans, basically. And you know, there's a saying that 1,000 true fans is all you need for success. And that is something I personally believe, especially in a very competitive niche space like cybersecurity, even further niche down by your product category. If you have true fans, they'll speak for you. They'll talk about you in the rooms where you are not present and are not allowed. One thing about cybersecurity practitioners is they're not spending their time on LinkedIn the way we are, right? So we're sort of shouting into the void. Then they aren't necessarily spending time on the other big social media platforms either. They may be there to connect with family and friends, but they're not there to really learn anything about cybersecurity. Their brain's pretty much checked out when they're on Facebook or Insta or, dare I say, TikTok. Now, there are ways to have a short form video strategy. I'm not saying don't exist in those places. I'm not saying don't do social. I'm not saying don't do a blog. I'm not saying don't optimize your website. You still need to have those things, but I feel like maybe a little less time and effort there, and try putting a little more time and effort into your YouTube channel. Because what most companies are doing that's not working is they just kind of exist there. They'll randomly put a webinar video up once in a while, maybe an animated video demo or a product pitch or something like that. That's really, feels more like a commercial than helpful content. So there's a couple things here. Is who do you need on camera? And then there's what do they need to be talking about? Who you need on camera, surprisingly, the number one role at your company that needs to be seen on camera is your salespeople. And this might surprise you because, what do the tech people care about the salespeople? What you're doing here is setting them up as experts in their field, in the niche that you're in. When they're doing content, they're going strictly educational, strictly maybe sharing news, maybe doing commentary on the news, that sort of thing. You want them set up as experts in their own right. And I've met these salespeople on cybersecurity teams, and they're smart, they're educated, they've been in the industry usually for a little while, and maybe even for a variety of products and technologies. They know what they're talking about, or they wouldn't be able to talk to prospects like they do every day. So, and they also understand prospects a lot better probably than the marketing team does, because they are out there in the field. So they can provide guidance into the content itself as well. But setting them up, having their faces on YouTube, talking about the problems they recognize their ICP is experiencing, and talking about solutions, things that have been tried that didn't work, new ways of thinking about things, new approaches, a point of view. But what they're never going to do on YouTube is sell anything. They're not going to sell your product. They probably shouldn't even mention it, like, at all. I know that's really hard to do. It's going to go completely against their nature, but they're there to educate and help and bring value to their ICP. They're there to build their own reputation as experts in the field, and people who can be trusted, and people who, are down to earth and relatable, and not trying to pitch, and not trying to be polished, and not trying to sell something, right? So that's just the kind of persona that your buyers are going to respect the most. And these are the people they're going to meet when they finally do enter into a sales cycle, hopefully with you. So you want them to trust the people, and actually they will, when they trust people, come to them. Like, wouldn't that be a huge turnaround for the salespeople to have people approach them on social media? Hey, I saw your videos. Hey, I've been following you for a while on YouTube. I just wanted to reach out, wanted to see if you could tell me more about your product, right? That would be a dream come true. And this kind of thing can happen through YouTube, because people build trust with their favorite creators. We call them creators, right? On YouTube, that's what they're called. So as soon as your face is on camera and on the tube, you're a creator. So welcome to the creator space. Now, of course, the marketing team can help write video scripts, set up slides. Your designer can help with any imagery that you need, but you're not probably doing product demos here. There is a time and place for that, and you can have a playlist with maybe very focused product demos focused on solving different problems, and have people go through a series and sort of getting an idea of what your product does. That's fine. That playlist can exist, but that's not what you're putting your the most of your effort into for your YouTube. So who else should be on your YouTube? The other faces should probably be your sales engineers. They're the ones who give demos every day. They know how to explain the product and answer questions. And they can get into a whole series focused on answering different types of questions from different types of prospects. And again, they can show the product in their videos, but they're going to avoid being salesy and go in with a spirit of education. Another persona on your team that needs to be on your YouTube, their face, they need to show up with their real voice, is probably your product marketers and your product managers. They can get into the why they're building what they're building. They can get into how specifically it's helpful. They can get into what's missing in other products. They can do comparisons. So they can get into your product a bit, but they're still not selling it, right? They're just educating how things used to be done versus how things are done now via your company's POV and your company's innovation, right? They're sort of showing that off and talking about why it works and things they're working on. Like, transparency is hugely valued. Transparency is hugely valued in this field. So even talking about the things that you've tried that didn't quite work or didn't quite resonate with your customers, yeah, that's great too. Because people want to know not just what you do and what you do best. Of course you want to talk about that, but they want to know what you don't do, who you're not for. Who's this product not right for? Just go ahead and talk about that and be real about it. People respect that a lot more than trying to say you're for everyone and you solve all the problems. They see through that in a second and they don't believe it. You'll lose followers quickly. You'll lose viewers quickly. They won't even be following you. So getting your SMEs, like engineers and the product team and the research team, into creating video might be a little bit harder than convincing your salespeople to do it. They're going to get right away while you're doing it. The others might not, and also, they have full-time jobs, right? They work for a living, and they have other priorities, like building your product and securing it and doing the research necessary. So you're going to have to be sensitive to their time. But even with a small team at a small startup, if you get a couple salespeople and SE and rotate through your technical people, that's 4 slots a month. That's once a week, usually, for most months. That's enough. That's enough to keep going and have regular content going. So if you create a content plan for each of these personas, have each of them published once a month, you can easily cover a once a week cadence. Being consistent is very important for the algorithm to understand that you're consistently going to be there, and it can consistently keep showing your content to people. You're not going to basically ghost your audience, producing something fantastic one week and disappearing for 3 weeks. That's sort of death to your channel temporarily, right? You can come back from it. But you need to start producing on a regular basis. It takes a while. I'm going to be honest, it takes a while for YouTube to find your audience for you, especially in a very niche and very technical industry, right? So, but they're out there. They are out there. They are watching YouTube in their free time. And yes, sometimes they're there to watch entertainment, and sometimes they're there, to watch lawn mowing videos like my husband likes to watch, or grocery shopping ladies like I like to watch. These are just sort of examples of things we watch because we relate to those people on a deeply personal level. And we enjoy tips from real humans on these everyday things that we do anyway. That's sort of how it works, very similarly with cybersecurity. They're there also to learn. When I was going to school for cybersecurity, I got my degree, but the content, I have to say, especially the textbooks, are pretty dry and hard to get through. They're snooze fest. They're boring. It's hard to stick with it. So I would supplement my educational material with YouTube. Yes, I did. If cybersecurity vendors want to learn what kind of content works and how to build an audience and what you should be doing, find those educators out there. There's a lot of channels I used to watch for educational content regarding cybersecurity and trying to understand topics deeper and trying to learn them from pros themselves. Now, that's a different kind of content because that's aimed at students and it's aimed at people who are learning, who are trying to get their certifications. So you're not going to directly replicate what they're doing. You're going to educate your ICP where they are, like at their level. They're experienced cybersecurity people. You don't need to define cybersecurity for them. They're very aware, right? So you're going to take a different approach. Your content is going to go deeper, and it's going to be, very much more specific to the problems they're trying to solve on the job every day. So my point is, you want to build a fan base. You want to build the fans who will recommend your product when it comes time to make a purchase decision. And the practitioners, by the way, they are looped in on these decisions, and they will, say what they think about these products that they've seen and tried, perhaps, and heard about mostly from people they know in their dark social channels, the channels you will never get into. Your marketing and sales team, they're not going to get into private Discords and Slack channels that are meant for practitioners only. And if you try to sneak in, good luck to you. They'll sniff that out pretty quickly. And your reputation, your product's reputation will be ruined. That's a chance I don't think you should take, right? But do understand that these conversations are happening between them. And, it's good old-fashioned word of mouth. Well, how do you get that? You can't force that to happen, but you can create content that creates a fan base so that you are naturally mentioned in these conversations. That's how you win them over, and that's how you win the deal. When you and some close competitors are on the table for a buying decision. So embrace YouTube. Do it right. Treat it as a real channel. Treat it like you used to treat your blog. regular production, content themes, content pillars, all the things we did with our blog. You can do that on YouTube and build trust with the people on your team. So I will get into creating videos on the practical how-tos, how to implement this, and how to sort of teach people how to make videos when they're new to it and not sure what to do, the whole script versus bullet points, the whole having good lighting in the room, what kind of equipment you do need, the bare minimum, and help you get it done. As well as, let's not forget, YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world. And yes, it's owned by Google. It's also searchable, and yes, SEO applies here. Very specific on platform as well as through Google search. So it is important to nail your titles and descriptions. And then we can also get into thumbnails, because that's a bit of a different animal. That's purely visual, and that's to get people to click. So you can think of that like your hook on social media. So I will get into the how-tos and the breakdowns of how to actually practically make this happen and how to train your team and get them on board and get them going. Your first videos aren't going to be perfect, but they're going to be better than what's out there, because I guarantee you your competitors aren't doing it. And this will give you a huge leg up. So just do it.